So, the previous video, we turned Gojo Choso into subclasses, we turned Yuji into a feat, we turned Yuta into an item, and many other things. Did decent, honestly. I didn't expect to do even that much. So, I decided to make a sequel. This time around, we're going to be turning Sukuna, Mechamaru, Todo, and just general Jujutsu into subclasses, and many other things. I will get right into it. I'm sure you're curious as to how you're going to play as Sukuna in a balanced campaign. This took a while. So, the Ryomen Sukuna is a Warlock subclass where you are not actually Sukuna himself. You're actually the vessel of Sukuna, which Sukuna is giving you powers in order to adapt into your body and eventually overtake it. It is a Warlock subclass for two prime reasons. It just fits, and secondary, Warlocks are not known for doing a lot of damage, unlike very often. So I feel that kind of balances it out. Spells. Yes, this subclass has its own unique spells. It would have had a lot more spells, but DnD Beyond won't let me add all of these spells because they're not from the basic rules. So they have to be from basic rules for some reason. First of all, you have Hunter's Mark and Burning Hands. Burning Hands is to reference to the Jogo fight. A lot of things are to the reference of the Jogo fight, and there is a chance we haven't seen all of the techniques since he opened something in the scene. But still, Hunter's Mark just fits Sukuna's Pharaoh nature. Magic Weapon, that's more of you making a fire weapon, Scorching Ray again, with warding, and haste because, let's fucking face it, Sukuna is quite fast, quite Pharaoh in the battlefield. Fire Shield Wolf, Fire, Flame Strike Arrow into reference to the Jogo fight, and then lastly, Dominate Person just because he fucks up Yuji. When you take the subclass, you roll 1d4 to see which one of the Sukuna's visual effects you get. Either his red eyes, his extra eyes, his tattoos, or his talents. Now, onto the things you can do with this subclass. Dismantle. As an action, you choose two inanimate objects within 60 meters of your line of sight. An invisible line is cast as soon as your enemy walks through the line. During their turn, they are struck with an invisible force, suffering amount of d6 equal to your charisma mod slashing on a failed dexterity save. So if you're a +3, you roll 1d6 +3. On a success, they take half as much damage. The invisible line can be seen by any spellcaster with a high level than you. You can use this ability a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, per long rest. Well, to be more specific, you can stack you can stack your dismantles in order to cast multiple of them at a time. Cleave is pretty self-explanatory. You do contact with a creature, you do 2d8 slashing damage on a failed dex save. Pretty similar. That's it, really. You don't need any complex things. You just come up to a person, you touch them, and cleave happens. Slash and Pierce. If you cast a spell using slashing or piercing damage, you can choose it to be invisible. Making it invisible gives you either an advantage on a hit or give disadvantage to your target. It's basically your choice. Something similar would be Blade Tornado or something like that. That spell is called, where you make it invisible, so whenever someone goes in, they don't know it's there. Okay, Unslashable. You're resistant to non-magic and piercing and slashing damage. Makes sense. Pretty good if you ask me. But knowing that this is a 10th level thing, you're probably not fighting things that are doing slashing and piercing damage at this point. Holy shit. Now the thing you probably want from your Sukuna at 14th level. Malevolent Shrine. As an action, you conjure forth Malevolent Shrine, an ominous structure that flanks a 50-sphere area, resonating with cursed energy. The shrine drones upon the malevolent of As your enemy steps into its sinister embrace, your reaction invokes Cleave, subjecting them to a dexterity save. Failing not only inflicts 2d8 slashing damage, but the cursed influence lingers, compelling the creature to endure subsequent dexterity saves at the start of each turn. Escape from the shrine domain is prohibited until a successful dexterity is achieved. So yeah, visually you know how the shrine looks, and the shrine has the same armor class and hit points as you. When the shrine takes damage, you take damage. And when you take damage, the shrine takes damage. Any creature who has failed the dex save is aware of the fact. So they know what to hit. So if the shrine goes down from damage, you go down too. This can be used once per long rest. Devil's Vessel, you add your charisma modifier to your armor class when not wearing armor. So all of this I think is pretty explanatory. There's not a lot of things I have to explain. Maybe the Malevolent Shrine might be a little bit confusing, but basically, when you enter the radius of the Malevolent Shrine, you immediately roll a dexterity save. If you fail, you get damage, but you know that the Malevolent Shrine is connected to Sukuna, so you attack the Malevolent Shrine. That's really it, since, you know, Warlock's main thing is their spells. So not only will you be dealing with all this, you will be also dealing with their spells. If you want truly to make Sukuna in this game, you just have to weave the remaining levels into Monk and kind of find a way for this to work. But for now, I think this is the only way you can play Sukuna in a more or less balanced way. But I think this needs still heavy reworking, especially the last little ability. But for now, this is my way of playing Sukuna in the game. Dark Bird Manipulation is a curse technique of Mei Mei from Jujutsu Kaisen, where she simply controls ravens. But that's boring, so let's do this. You summon a raven that uses the raven's stat block. You can close one eye to see through your bird. During the initiative, the bird rolls its own initiative. The bird can self-destruct, dealing 3d10 damage on a failed save. The damage is force. I forgot to write that here, fuck. If the bird dies before self-destructing, it explodes, and anyone in 10 feet sphere suffers 3d10 damage on a failed save. Basically, this is to reference the binding woe she makes with her ravens. Where they sacrifice their life in order to guarantee hit someone. As I said previously, Yuji Itadori's feat is kind of lame, Divergent Fist. So I made a new one, Yuji Itadori, the Blind Brawler. When taking this feat, you gain the following benefits. Raise your dexterity score by 1 to a maximum of 20. As a bonus action, you activate this ability and you keep attacking a creature with unarmed strikes until you miss, out of the max of 5 attacks. If you miss the first attack, the enemy has opportunity attack and can attack you up to 5 times. When you attack a creature with an unarmed strike, you can repeat the damage roll once per short rest. So yes, this is basically Yuji's 2 abilities, and I'm left and I'm right, and Divergent Fist. It's pretty good. I think it works pretty fucking amazingly if you're playing a monk. But again, the aspect being the Blind Brawler, if you don't hit your target, the target can fucking hit back, motherfucker.
You don't have rhythm, but listen what you're doing right
Next up is Aoi Todo in the Path of the Rhythm. Now, it's kind of hard to turn Todo into a subclass, because really the motherfucker has one thing. Clapping, which we already easily turned into gloves, and his fucking charisma. But here's the thing. I think we can make a charisma-based Barbarian. Not the one that uses charisma stat, that is a charismatic one. Path of the Rhythm feature, level 3, Tempo. After activating your rage, every single one of your allies in 30 feet is feeling the rhythm. As soon as the round ends, every ally must roll 3 charisma checks, at which you roll a charisma check. If out of all your allies, at least 3 are exactly the same as yours, or 2 down or 2 up. For example, if you rolled a 15, your friend rolled a 13 or 14, that's a success. So yeah, all of you are now synced, and you can choose at any moment during the round for everyone to go at the same time, or at the time of the one that rolled the highest of the initiative, so you can just make a super attack on your enemy. Whenever you hit a nat 20, you get the chance to activate the tempo again. So whenever a Barbarian rolls a nat 20, everyone has to roll a Charisma check, and to see if they sync up again. Now, Barbarians' third level abilities are not that crazy. Some might say Frenzy is kind of cool, but I don't think so. So I think that's pretty cool. Again, you sync up. You can describe this as the party starting to clap their hands together, like hitting their feet against each other, you know, like making music on the battlefield. This works pretty well with any bard in your team. 6th level, feel the beat. Every time you successfully execute the rhythm, or the tempo, everyone in your party gets an inspiration die. And if they already have an inspiration die from you or their bard, they regain 1d6 plus their constitution score hit points. Again, an inspirational leader, making feel everyone great on the battlefield. 1-1-2. 1-1-2. If your main weapon roll and extra attack are the same roll, you can perform another attack with advantage. If it's the same number, you miss. But if it's not, you hit. So, as you can see, it's the core of rhythm. 1-1-2. 1-1-2. So the Barbarian rolls 16, 16, 17. So the third number has to be a different one. Prep time. You can try to synchronize with your party before you all roll initiative. So basically, before everyone rolls initiative, the Dungeon Master says, everyone roll initiative, the Barbarian basically goes, no, let's sync up, and everyone rolls a Charisma check, and boom! If you're synced up, great. If you're not, that sucks. Again, this is not a crazy subclass, this is mostly a roleplay subclass that's just good for if you have a bard on your team, if you have a Way of the Drunken Fist monk on your team, y'all can work together in a way that, you know, kind of makes sense. And is very flavored, it's very, how do I say this? You know, you feel like a band. And that's why I think this is a great subclass for Todo, not necessarily because it has Todo-based abilities. You can maybe take 6 levels in monk, and give yourself the gloves, and 14 levels in this, and then you make a pretty good Todo, but as this, it's a Todo-inspired subclass. So, this was not in the previous video, but I made a King of Distorted Killing, which is actually Mahito's form, which is called something else. Wait, let me see. Oh shit. Instant Spirit Body of Distorted Killing. Was it not King at some point? Whatever. Yeah, King of Distorted Killing is a fiend which you can make your party fight. It has proficiency in athletics plus 2 to strength plus 8 to dexterity. Its scores are for strength 23, dexterity 18, constitution 18, intelligence 16, wisdom 15, and charisma 13. As multi-attack, the king makes 4 spike slashes, which are plus 9 to hit and deal 3d10 damage. Slashing, naturally. It can also cast out herself on itself to go back into its original form. Also, it has the Idle Transfiguration spell from the previous video we made, and Soul Manipulation, where it can cast Raise Dead on any creature it already killed. So basically, if you hate your fucking party as a Dungeon Master, you can fucking use this, because this piece of shit has 18 armor class and 228 hit points. Also a challenge rating 11, so yes, if you want to make a slightly hard boss fight, you sure can. It also has its own lore about being in Depth of Hell and how it was born in this setting specifically, but I decided to just discuss the stat block. School of Jujutsu is a wizard subclass where you are basically the kind of protector of the party. Not the healer, but the protector. Domain for the weak. You can cast Simple Domain. Simple Domain protects anyone has a lower HP than you, and has a lower con modifier than you. While standing in the domain, which is 30 feet, a light sphere comes up underneath you. Any magical spell that is against you or a person by which the domain allowed in has its saving throw lowered equal to your intelligence score. Again, this might seem broken, but again, a fighter cannot really go into your domain because they're too strong. This domain is specifically for the weak. If an enemy enters the domain, they suffer 1d10 damage on a failed con save. The ability eats up any spell slot of your choice if it's at least a higher level than 1. It requires concentration and can be used twice per long rest. You can also use Domain Amplification, where you cast a theme domain around yourself. So when someone hits you, you can reroll the save and use the higher roll. This also takes up the same same slot as the domain for the weak, so you have to choose which one you would like to do. Falling Blossom in Motion. As a bonus action, your simple domain now can fight back, and quickly extend the domain to your enemy's territory and bring it back, forcing your enemy to be inside your domain for a brief moment. And when the enemy is inside, they roll the con save, and they start 1d10 damage. Now, you can't use this ability for another 3 turns, and you can't use domain for the weak for another 3 turns. Well, it's active, but it's kinda not usable for 3 turns. It comes back after it. Curtain, you can cast a curtain around your domain. The curtain can blend into the surroundings and help you, for example, somehow not be seen. Or from the inside, you can make the curtain, make it seem so that the inside is all deeper. It can look like a sea, it can look like a forest. Basically, you hide. Shadow Style. Now the light of your domain is replaced with dark black ink. You can now choose a foe in a 150 radius in a straight line from you, and you choose the domain foe to emerge from their point. They do a con save, and if they fail, they suffer 3d10 damage. The 2 domains are now linked together, and are connected with a 50 wide length line. If someone goes in, they suffer the same damage. Again, Wizards of Witchery has every spell in the game. Giving them a more broken ability like a Limitless Combatant would not be correct. So this is more better. This is more focused on protecting someone weak in your party. So I think that's more balanced. A 7-to-3 ratio blade. When you wield this blade, you can score a critical hit when you roll natural 16 or 14. With this weapon, however, if you have a feature or ability that allows you to crit on a 19, so if you're a champion fighter or you're a warlock hexblade, so basically if you roll anything other than 20, 14, or 16, the feature gets disabled, so no more crits on 19 and 18. So the blade is, you know how the blade looks. It's basically Nanami's blade. It's not anything special. I think it's pretty good if you want to give it early on to the party and like, oh, that's Nanami's blade. And, The last one is Mechamaru. Master of Puppets. You gain proficiency with sleight of hand checks if you have anything to do with puppets. This was added here because DnD Beyond kind of forced me to. Puppeteer spells. Unseen Servant. Floating Disc. Dustel. Find Steed. Conjure Animals. Tiny Hut. Conjure Minor Elements. Conjure Woodland Beings. Anti-Life Shell. Teleportation Circle. I encourage you to flavor all of these as your different wooden dolls. A puppet. Naturally, as you are Mechamaru, you have to summon a puppet. A puppet that can be summoned... Yeah, you can summon it twice per long rest. A wooden puppet. 15 natural armor, your intelligence modifier, plus 5 your artificer level. Which has, well, this stuff, which is not important because we want to look at the attacks. Sword option. Melee weapon attack. Does 1d12. Ultra Spin. You fucking fly up to your enemy and fucking stab them in the heart. You do 1d8 piercing damage, and this ability has two charges. Boost on. Your puppet flies. Ultra Cannon. Your puppet sacrifices all of its remaining hit points into this attack to kill it. To kill your enemy. But if it has more than 20 hit points left, it just does 20 hit points of damage. By the way, the puppet goes on the same turn as you right after you, and you have to use your bonus action to tell it what to do, otherwise it's just going to stand there because it's a stupid puppet. Again, giving it its own initiative is kind of broken, especially when you have so many conjuration spells. So yeah. Bug Puppet. Starting at 5th level, once per 5 long rests, you can create a wooden bug puppet. The puppet has 5 hit points and is a small creature. It has a climbing, walking, and flying speed of 30. All of its ability scores are 10, so plus 0. This puppet can travel up to 20 kilometers away from you and independently exist for 10 days as an action you choose to see and hear from your puppet's eyes. While in this state, you can command your puppet to do whatever the fuck you want. You can also see from your puppet's eyes. I think I said that before. Magical Puppet. Now your wooden puppet can cast cantrips from your Artificer spell list. Puppet Master. You can now summon 2 puppets at the same time. You can also summon 5 weaker puppets that they're slightly different from the regular puppet, but they use the Homunculus Servant stat block. But also they can't attack and they're just medium-sized. Oh my god. I'm dying as I'm making this video. Anyway, thank you for watching this one. I at least hope you did watch this one, because this one did take quite a lot of time for me. I'm really grateful if you're coming back from the previous video, that you watched that video with Gojo as a subclass, and Choso as a subclass, and many other things. It would mean the world to me if you're seeing this video and you're going back to see it. Yeah. I'm feeling not so good right now. I'm coughing a lot. But thank you. Again, thank you. I am going to make a third and final part for this, which is going to cover Toji and how to make rules for the main expansions. But I'm really grateful. Yeah, that's it. Bye.